Okay, just did some back end work there. Hopefully this is working. Just had a little bit of an issue with the stream. Today we are streaming to 4 different channels. We have Instagram Live in our stories. We're streaming to Twitch. We're streaming to YouTube, which is where our episodes get archived. We're also streaming to Facebook. So yeah, it's an interesting journey that we're on, trying to make this as accessible as possible. Really exciting episode happening today, so welcome, JagaVision, episode 45. We're going to be bringing on Jill Hoff from Monogram Coffee. She also came in first at the Barista Championships here in Canada. Exciting guest to have on the show. We're also going to have Sherri joining us from Sister Speak. We're lucky to have her on here almost every week as almost a co-host or a regular feature guest, so that's pretty fun. I always go on her show that you should go and check out on her Patreon, patreon.com/sisterspeak. She does a live show every Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we do JagaVision after that at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So every Thursday is quite the joy. We really look forward to it. You can go to jagasilk.com and check out what episodes are coming up next by looking on our top page. You can also join our newsletter on there, JagaSpam, and get updates and coupons and all that fun stuff. So yeah, welcome. So as I like to do, I will be doing a tea that I've never had before. So that's going to be the goal today. I think I'm going to make it in this Yixing teapot. This is a selection from one of my friends in the industry who was on a couple episodes back. It was the second time on the show, over at 05 Tea. We had Pedro on. I'm going to be drinking one of his selections that he likes to call Time Traveler. It's from Lin Cheng in Yunnan. It's in the pu'er style. So I'm going to make it gong fu cha style. So let's grab a scale and let's get the tea weight out. Yeah, it's looks like it's a single bush ancient tree, so that's always fun times. And we're going to weigh out 4 grams. So incredibly fruity and floral black tea, it says. So I really like, I'm kind of really digging this style of making tea where we are essentially just doing these flash infusions with small amounts of liquid. So actually, before I put it in the teapot, I'm going to show it to you. So that's what it looks like. Pretty beautiful leaves. Actually, I would say that's gorgeous leaf appearance. Really nice aromatics. Yeah, no, that's nice. All right, so let's see if we can't get some water boiling. Hot. Turn that up. So I'm going to try and get it up to 98, 99. If you're at a high elevation and you have a temperature variable kettle, you probably want to hold off on bringing up that temperature up too high, because you'll just be asking for trouble. Your kettle's likely gonna break on you. So just make sure that if you're in a high elevation, maybe bring it up to 96. Should be okay. I mean, it depends where you are, but it's a good general rule of thumb. Okay, so what I want you to do, if you're making this tea at home and you're joining me, I don't know if that's actually possible, but it might be, you're gonna do 90 grams of water. Now, I know that this teapot holds 90 grams, so if you're just making one of your favorite crimson teas at home, you could weigh out 90 grams, but it is nice to figure out what the capacity of your teapot is. Smaller the better kind of thing. And then what you can do is you can fill it right to the top, and you're going to know what your capacity is, so you don't have to go around weighing your water. So weigh your water once for your teapot just to get a sense of the capacity, and then dose to suit. So I like to, recently I've been doing 4 grams for every 90 mils, and I've been doing these 15-second flash infusions with boiling water. So if I'd been on my game, we would already have the water boiled, as my guests are going to join me in about 4 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. It might be a little bit late in the game. So anyway, if you're watching, you can also join in on the chat. You can ask us questions and stuff, and I'll do my best to respond. Looks like our episode on Instagram is actually working out today. The video looks a little bit weird. I guess it's a close-up of the video that I'm hosting elsewhere. So I'll try and talk to the middle of the screen, and then you'll be able to see me on that kind of vertical video kind of cutoff that Instagram likes to do. So we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, we're at 98, so let's give it a go. So douse the leaves and letting that go. That's a rinse. So next I'm gonna fill right brimming to the top to the point that it overflows. It helps to have one of these little trays. Smelling really nice. Scrape off a little bit of the bubbles that build up and drop that on. So it's nice to also just pour some hot water on your little teapot, and once the water evaporates, it's kind of a good sign that you're at a happy place for extraction. But 15 seconds is our goal as well. So, and love it when that just works like that. There's a little bit of an air hole in the top of the teapot, so the liquid can exit pretty easily there. Okay. So again, really nice aromatic, good color. I don't know if you can see that okay, but looking pretty nice. Okay. Yeah. Some nice fruit. Lovely. Yeah, we've got some smoke. Little bit lightweight, I think, but it probably just means it has a lot to give in terms of multiple infusions. As the leaf quality looked really vibrant and really good. Nice. Okay, so I think we're in a good place. My guests will be joining in 1 minute. Just going to confirm that they're here. If you're going to do another infusion, I would fill it again, give it more like 25, 30 seconds. Each tea you got to get to know individually, so I often feel that my first cup of a particular tea is always the one that's the least interesting, because I often don't find the settings that I really want for that tea yet. Be it needs to be a little bit of a shorter infusion or a little bit of a longer infusion, all depending. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so just confirming these guys. Okay, Jill and Sherri Ann. Okay. So we're on just checking our Instagram feed again. So this is new for me. So I'm happy. It looks like we have a number of viewers watching from Instagram. So hello to all of you folks who are joining us there. You can also join us on our on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Today we're going to be making a black sesame matcha latte with our guests. So I actually have some of the kit here for making that, and we'll be going over it. It's going to be fun. So. Nice. Okay. This is actually, the more I sit with this tea, the more gentle and interesting. There's some stone fruit. There's some really interesting, interesting stone fruit, interesting smoke, interesting, it's just a really good tea. So, yeah, I think if you're over in Vancouver, if you're on his website, you should go check out 05. I do a good job. Okay, so our friends are joining us in 1 minute. Okay, we'll just keep going. So Linchang is probably one of the most famous regions for tea production in Yunnan. Yunnan province in China is pretty famous for the pu'ers. So if you ever had a pu'er, a technical pu'er, has to be from Yunnan. There's an area in Yunnan, Nanu Mountain, that creates some of the world's most. If it's not from that area, it's not technically a pu'er. If it's made in the same style but not from the correct area, then you'd call it a dark tea. One of our guests have joined, so let me see if I can't let them into the call. Okay, awesome. Is that Jill? Do we have Jill on the line?
Here.
Hey, Jill. Awesome. So welcome to JagaVision.
Hello.
Awesome. So you're joining us from Calgary, Monogram.
From Calgary. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Awesome. I know that we don't have a lot of time with you today. But I figured we could maybe start with you telling us a little bit about what you do and like at Monogram, and you were also I'm also interested in this series that we were working on together. I think you have a bunch of your vendors that are been putting together different recipes that you've been talking about and stuff. So let's first talk about Jill. So Jill, you came in first at the
I did. It feels like forever ago.
Yeah. That was right when like that would have meant that you were in Victoria, right? Because I
was in Victoria. Yeah, that's right.
And they did the nationals right before everything got shut down for COVID, right?
Yeah, while we were in Victoria, actually things were starting to shut down. Like by the time we left Victoria, you couldn't eat in the restaurants anymore there. So yeah, it was like right when everything was happening. So by the time we got home, it was like lockdown. Everyone had to stay home. So we got our competition in literally just in the nick of time.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I was hearing that even then you guys were trying to be super safe. There was like new sort of rules that they implemented right before you guys went forward with the sessions there. But I'm really happy you came in first. That's really amazing. It was we've been working with Monogram for quite a long time since you guys opened, really, and you've been like really leading things with there's Ben and Jeremy and Justin, but it feels like you and Isaac Johnson, like there's just such a lovely crew of you guys doing such good work over there, and really enjoy the feature drinks that you put together over there, and I understand that you're a big part of that.
Yeah, so my responsibility here is I oversee all of like the coffee program at the cafes and the education for the staff as well. So anytime we have a seasonal, for the most part, that is usually something that I would be responsible for creating. We've had a couple staff submit some ideas that we've put on the menu, and of course Ben as well. Yes, this is like this black sesame matcha. As I was making the syrup, I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I was like, this smells really good. I didn't taste it. I was waiting to like do the big reveal with you.
Awesome. Okay.
But it great. Smells really good, and I was like, my head was kind of thinking about seasonals for sure.
Nice. Okay, so we're kind of like we're making this happen with a good timing. I've had like cravings to just try some of the stuff that you put out there. Do we know what's coming up? Like, is there something that we can have like a sneak surprise? Is there something that you're working on that's going to be coming out soon, or is there something you're excited about that you have on the menu right now? That involves tea?
We're actually.
I'm biased.
Yeah, so we do a lot of seasonals with your tea, as you know.
Yeah.
And I am a huge fan of matcha. So usually whatever seasonal we have, I also taste test it with matcha, and then I order it with matcha for myself all the time. So usually our seasonals taste very good with matcha, and we kind of like offer that to our customers as well.
Nice.
But with spring coming up, we actually do have a seasonal that is going to be promoted with matcha or espresso as the options. And we're doing kind of a riff on a dark and stormy, which is normally, so the ginger beer, matcha, and lime.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So I'm excited for that one to be on the menu.
My wife's cousin went to a space where he made his own ginger beer, and it got me
Oh, okay.
all excited. Apparently, it's one of the easier fermentations to start with. So like making a ginger beer and doing that ferment yourself is interesting. I'm super fascinated by fermentation. And have you guys, are you going to be doing your own ferment, or are you going to be working with somebody who's like really into this, and you're going to be buying the ginger beer from them, or what's the plan?
Yeah, we're using a local company actually here who makes their own ginger beer and root beer and other sodas. They're actually a brewery, so they make a lot of, like, obviously make beer as well. But yeah, they have these craft sodas, and we sell them in our cafes already. So we're
Nice.
just going to be, using them in our seasonals.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to be joined pretty soon by Sherri from Sister Speak. She's not here yet, but I figure that we could just go ahead and I could show the audience how we make the I know that you were explaining to me beforehand, you've made the syrup in advance, but I just want to kind of take people through what that process looked like to get to that point. Oh, and it looks like we actually have our guest joining us, so just give me 1 second. Our other guest. Admit. Okay, awesome. All right, welcome. Sherri, Sister Speak. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to JagaVision episode 45, if you can believe it. And Sherri is the lead singer of Sister Speak. And Jill is on the other line there, Sherri. So Sherri, Jill, Sherri. Jill's with Monogram Coffee.
Nice to meet you.
Awesome.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
And we were just about to start making this black sesame matcha latte. So Sherri actually has some tools that you might find at home. She's making this in her space there. She's got a mortar and pestle that she can grind away with. What I'm going to be using, though, is a Vitamix. So this is really helpful. And maybe we can just be talking through this process a bit. And then I also have some black sesame. I have some hot water, and I have some honey. So figure we can just have at it with these. Essentially, I like to start the process by turning on my stove. And then this is it, eh? Jill, I don't know if did you toast the black sesame?
Yes, it's toasted.
Nice. It doesn't it sound amazing, or smell amazing?
Yeah, it smells very good.
Yeah, I think like this is the part of the ingredient list that just makes this drink so satisfying. And so I'm just gonna turn that on, and while that's happening, I'm just gonna empty the ingredients into the blender here. So we pre-weighed these so that we can move a little quickly today. But I got 300 milliliters of hot water. And I always like to start with the water, hey, because I find with these blended mixtures, if I do the powder first, it just sticks to the bottom. So that makes a big difference. How did you guys make this? Did you do the full recipe? Did you do a partial recipe?
I actually made the full recipe, and I did the same as you. I put the water in first and the honey, and I didn't realize how many black sesames
was 100 grams? Yeah. It's
so
a lot, right? Yeah. Sherri, at home, we've given you 1/5 of the recipe so that you don't have to go all out there. You should be able to just empty in, what would that be? That would be 20 grams of black sesames. Do you want to get that going on a frying pan on your stove?
I'm making it on a frying pan? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're going to toast it up. So what happens is you put it pretty hot, so you got to just basically kind of shake the pan in the background, then come back, and then shake the pan, and then come back, and shake the pan, and come back. So there's going to be a little bit of back and forth.
Okay, how many grams did you say? The whole thing?
The whole thing, 20 grams, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then, we'll need something to mix it into. So you'll put like, help me out here, Jill. What's 1/5 of 300 mils? Right, is that
60?
Thank you. I feel I should know this. there's our math for the day. I'm gonna top out on that one.
Is it 60?
It is.
20? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I said that so confidently.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. So I'm doing a full batch. So I'm putting in 300 milliliters of honey. This is enough for me to power a number of drinks. Do you remember from the recipe? I should have this in front of me. I just have the weights of the items. What I need to make it, but I forgot when I go to prep how much of the syrup I need.
I believe you said 40.
Okay,
Does that sound right?
That does sound right. And then it was 140 milk, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So basically the first part of this process is making the syrup. And the syrup, you know, Food Safe says you shouldn't really push it past 3 days in the fridge. That's what they say. You know, when you're at home, you can just however you like to roll, but that's what they say. This is, though, hot water. You could argue that there's a pasteurization process happening, and it does, we found anyways, last a lot longer than that. So if you need to make a little bit less, or if you can prove, if you're a cafe, you can prove to the health authority that you are you're basically pasteurizing the ingredients, and you send this off to a lab to prove that. Locally, we use MB labs, and they're great, so we can prove that we are in a good place and that our products aren't going to go bad in 2 seconds and cost us lots of money. Oh, that's smelling really good. Have you ever worked with black sesame before, Jill? For specialty?
No.
Okay. Have you ever had black sesame in a drink?
I think I have had it once in a drink before.
Okay.
But no, not outside of that. It was forever ago. I think I had like a bubble tea or something that.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
It's really popular in Japan, and Taiwan, and China, and Korea. You see a lot of folks enjoying black sesame as sort of like a rich, creamy option for when you're having, say, bubble tea, or you're having some sort of creative latte, that kind of thing. And we get the opportunity to go to Japan quite a bit, and it's one of my favorite things to have is to get the black sesame ice cream, or black sesame with red bean even. Like there's just such a nice and then sometimes you even see it a little bit more savory where they're grinding it up and they're putting it on. So what you're doing there, Sherri, is you're just gonna, once that's toasted, is it toasting okay?
Yeah, I don't add any oil, of course, right?
No oil. I should be clear on that for sure. Yeah, we're just toasting. So you can already see this starting to smoke. I don't know if the audience can see that okay, but it's kind of a nice. Oh. All right, awesome. And Jill, just so you know, Sherri Ann actually, she has her music 10 years in. We've been actually sponsoring her tours around the world with tea. So there's a very and it's very nepotistic too, because she is my sister. So that's part of it. But yeah, right. But she's this is her career. So she's got 3 albums. Just released a live album, which is pretty sweet.
Cool.
Yeah, and normally does hundreds of shows in a year. Like just very active. So pretty awesome. And
instead of tour sponsor, you're my quarantine sponsor now.
Yes, because you had to go back and then come across the border and go for 14 days in quarantine. So, but okay, so I'm all toasted. I got to a good place where it was starting to smoke, not smoke, but like I guess steam a little bit, and that's kind of my sign that it's ready. So that's where I'd like you to bring it. I put in water, I put in honey, I put in the black sesame. I'm gonna just quickly go and press go on the blender. Maybe Jill, do you mind telling the audience a little bit about the process that you went through to make the syrup where you're at, if it's any different from what we're doing, or if it's exactly the same? Maybe you could tell them a little bit about the project that you're working on with the recipes from all the different people that you guys network with.
Yeah, for sure. So my process was exactly the same. So what you saw Jared do is exactly what I did. So I'll spare you the details of what I did. But yeah, so we have a feature on our blog called the Cookbook Collective. And what we do with that is feature different local like chefs or different people in the industry who usually who we work with in some capacity. So it's really neat to have like different recipes either from like people personally that we work with, or from the restaurants or different cafes, or we've had a bartender as well who we've partnered with for this. So it's really awesome to have this collection of recipes from people around the city, since everybody is sort of like not going out as much, sitting at home. We just thought that it would be like a really cool place for people to find these recipes all in one spot on our blog. So it gives us the opportunity to feature other people that we love and work with in the industry. So yeah, Jared submitted this black sesame matcha recipe, and I'm excited to try it.
Awesome, cool. Okay, yeah, mine's blending in the background. What are some maybe sister speak? You could be I think it's probably done. Your black sesames. You could
Okay.
start crunching them in your mortar and pestle there.
Okay, well,
And then we're gonna add. Actually, interesting to if you get a big enough mortar and pestle, you can actually make all of this in the mortar and pestle. So you can get one of those big mortar and pestles. You can put 20 grams of black sesame seeds. You can put 60 grams of honey, and you can just like work it all in together and make a paste. And then you can add slowly hot water and make your syrup all in a big mortar and pestle, which is kind of interesting. You don't need to do the Vitamix. That's just the quick and dirty method that we are going to use for cafe purposes. But what are some? I'm gonna go grab the syrup, but maybe
Sure.
I want to hear this answer. But if you can start talking to everybody a little bit about maybe one of your favorite recipes that you've come across in this collection that you've been putting together.
Okay, for sure. Geez, we've already been doing it for almost a year, so we've had quite a few recipes. I think probably one of the ones that was right up my alley was I believe it was November, we featured one of the bartenders here in Calgary, and he created a simple syrup with some of our coffee. So it was like kind of like a double collaboration, and then we featured that syrup on bar for the whole month of November, and he used a bunch of like warming spices,
Nice.
and we called it it was really delicious. And then he gave us 2 different recipes for cocktails, which I tried at home, and they were both really, really great. So that was kind of fun because we got to do this double collaboration where we featured it in the cafes, and he used some of our product as well. And it was a really cool flavored coffee with like cinnamon notes, and it was a great I think a great use of that really special coffee too. So I really loved that collaboration, but they've all been super good so far.
And for those of you watching who don't know this, Monogram has absolutely amazing coffee. They are, I would say, if not nationally, like renowned. You guys are internationally renowned for your work. You guys, with your coffees, came in 3rd place in the world, right, at the World Barista Championships.
That's right. Yep.
And you've put together some incredible roasts. You guys are so careful with bringing out really complex and beautiful flavors from your coffees, and I can understand how it'd be very exciting to work with that as a sort of a flavor creator, like a cocktail maker, to be able to bring out some of the more. This coffee that this person used, was it natural? Was it a washed coffee? Was it a really interesting relationship? What was the coffee that they used, out of curiosity?
Yeah, that coffee specifically was from Costa Rica, and it was anaerobically processed as a natural. And so coffees from Costa Rica that are processed this way bring out a bunch of those like warming spice and like cinnamon flavors. So it already had a lot of that flavor naturally. So it paired really well with the type of syrup that he was making. So yeah, it was a really cool coffee. We actually have one in the cafes this week that's very similarly processed with similar flavor notes as well. So
Very cool.
yeah, it's a really cool coffee.
I'll have to go on your webpage after this and grab it. What is it called? The coffee?
It's called El Trapiche.
El Trapiche. El
Yes.
Trapiche. Is this also Costa Rican, or did you already say it
Yep.
was an origin? Okay.
Yep,
Awesome.
it's Costa Rica. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Very interesting. That sounds like a lot of fun. And anaerobic for our viewers, meaning, of course, that it was fermented without the oxygen. So I imagine there's some sort of tank that it's put in when during the.
Yep.
Is this like, have they removed the cherry and they're just working? Like, how is this? What does that mean? The anaerobic process in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so you can do. So that one is exactly what you said. It's fermented without any oxygen, and producers can either do it in the whole cherry. That's more typically what people will do, is fermenting it in the cherry before they remove the seed from the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can anaerobic with a washed as well. So which would mean that you would take the cherry off of it before it's dried. So either process, you can do it anaerobically. This coffee specifically, though, has the whole cherry.
Okay,
process
interesting.
that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Sorry, my music just started blasting for no reason. Okay, it's off. Okay, no, that's awesome. Does that create like an alcohol? Like I feel like we could talk about this all over, but like if you were to ferment without oxygen, it seems to me like you would create an alcohol, and then when you go and process it further, you would reduce that down. But would you retain some alcoholic characteristics from the fermentation in that? that brings out some really complex flavors you wouldn't otherwise taste?
Yeah, so it doesn't get to the point of like alcohol, but it would, similar to like kombucha or anything that's fermented, typically those coffees will have like that intensity of flavor. It really amplifies and intensifies like the natural characteristics that coffee would already have. So
No, that's super
it's really cool. It's definitely not alcoholic, but it does.
No, I don't mean that. I mean like, yeah, because you're gonna process it past that point. But I can imagine that during the process, like orange juice, not many people know this, but orange juice has close to 1% alcohol because there's the presence of yeast and there's sugars, and in a closed environment, it's going to produce alcohol. This is true of fruit at the supermarket. There's going to be alcohol in the fruit. It's just a natural part of life and how organisms interact with each other. It doesn't mean that it's going to be alcoholic in the sense of the word, but there's going to be really interesting characteristics that are brought forward.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeast and sugar interacting in this way and creating carbon dioxide and alcohol as byproducts is just such a fascinating part of flavor curation and creation. So yeah, no, I'm curious, I guess, like how that would impact the end flavor. Like there would be sort of like hints of these sort of more maybe wine-like flavors or fruit,
definitely,
like the really fruity, while still remaining crisp because it's not like a traditional, natural, in the traditional sense of the concept for coffee creation. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's super fascinating. I feel like we could talk all day about that coffee. 140 grams of milk, 40 grams of this mixture. Sherri, where are you in the process? You've ground the sesame.
I don't know if I'm doing it right, but yeah, I'm kind of grinding it.
Okay, you got to get it really nice and fine. Ideally, if it's just not doing it for you, then mixing it. Do you have a food processor?
No.
Then you're just gonna have to go at it. Just like get right in there and just you gotta get that all nice and crushed. Once it's nice and crushed, then you want to add your 60 mils of honey. You can actually just stir it in right there inside of that mortar and pestle. It should all fit. If it doesn't, then you can do the stirring process in a jar, which actually might make more sense in the end. And in the jar, before you start, you could add some hot water. So maybe get your kettle going and get 60 mils of hot water into a jar.
Okay, I've got that already ready. And then I add the honey to it?
And you're going to add the honey and the sesame paste and mix it all together to make a syrup.
60 milliliters.
Awesome.
And then all the honey?
And all the honey. Yeah, we weighed that out for you. So, and Jill, on your end, if you want to do mise en place, where we just do 140 grams of milk, and we're going to put in 40 grams of the syrup, that would be fantastic.
Done and done.
And
I have someone on standby. Not yet, not quite yet.
Ready to rock and roll?
Steam the milk for me when we're ready. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Queen Jill. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna put in 40 grams. Okay.
This honey is phenomenal. Where's this honey from?
That's the honey we use in our kombucha fermentation. It's from the Frederick family. They're 3 generations of beekeepers that live in Cedar, BC, near Nanaimo, and they use gravity for moving their honey around rather than heat, and that allows for it to have maximum sort of rawness, where it just preserves a lot of that natural goodness and doesn't pasteurize it by like kind of via the moving into buckets process, where even a lot of raw honey is accidentally pasteurized.
Oh.
So they end up having just fantastic flavor complexity. Okay.
Yeah.
So for our audience, it's good to have a little bowl to whisk in. We're gonna make a matcha shot. So we've created our milk mixture, which is 40 grams of the syrup, and then 140 grams of ideally whole milk. If you're not really into the whole cow milk thing, oat milk seems to work pretty decent. Whatever you want to do though for your milk alternative. And then we're gonna put in make a standard matcha shot. So 2 grams of matcha through a sieve, and we're gonna add 30 grams of 65-degree centigrade water. It's gonna be our goal. So Jill, what matcha are you using? Out of curiosity, are you on the Okumidori by Yamaguchi or the Okumidori Fukada or?
Okay, I'm really sorry to admit that I didn't look at the bag before.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm pretty certain that you're on the Okamidori by Yamaguchi, which is what I'm
Do
using.
we have the same one in all the cafes right now?
That is not necessarily true. No.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm at Fifth Ave right now, so whichever one you remember sending to them.
I think it was Okamidori by Yamaguchi. I think that's going to be our good guess. We've actually we moved to we used to have like multiple selections going at the same time, but what we've started doing is we're focusing and milling one selection at a time for our cafe standards. So used to be you'd see like you never know what you had. Could it be this Okamidori by Yamaguchi? Could it be Okamidori Fukada by Fujioka? Could it be Tsuyu Hikari by Takaki? It was just switching all the time. But now we're getting a little bit more into just really focusing on understanding the grinding process. And we found that even a few degrees centigrade on the plates has a big impact on whether or not we preserve the umami really well in the tea. So it's allowed us to really understand the matcha in a little bit more finer detail. But all of these selections, we call it this range of teas, our cafe standard. It allows you to have a matcha latte for, anywhere from $5.50 to $6.50 depending on where you're at. But our reserve matchas start at a $9 latte, right? So it's not necessarily gonna work in a lot of spaces. I think Monogram could kill it, but
I'm curious to try that $9 matcha latte.
Right? We even have a $13 one, which is our like koicha like competition grade matcha. So I should probably get you guys some of those just to have fun with, hey?
I would love that.
Yeah, we can totally do that. Okay, so when we're whisking, agitation is a form of extraction. So we want to make sure we don't go past 15 seconds. I like to either start a timer on my scale or I look at an analog clock on the wall. And then I'm going to draw M's. I'm going to whisk vigorously in the center to introduce air. And then I'm going to integrate that froth into a nice creamy texture. Ideally, it's going to have the froth and look of just a nicely poured shot of espresso. Okay.
And this is 2 grams, 30 milliliters?
You're going to do 2 grams of tea, 30 mils of water. That's how we like to do our latte shots.
Cool.
Okay.
Wait, are you making a latte? I'm making a cap. Is that going to work?
You're as long as you need to be able to fit the entire the entire amount of milk onto your shot. So whatever cup can fit the amount of milk that you're about to steam, no problem.
Okay,
and you could also reduce. I guess you could reduce it down if you needed to. Does that even work? No, it's gonna be
How
strong.
many ounces are you doing your latte?
7 to 8 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Sweet. Lovely.
I accidentally did too much water.
Oh no, okay. It's you can always adjust to suit. And if you're making this at home, you can use the same frying pan if you want, or you can use a stovetop. But what I like to do is I like to take the mixture of milk, and you can either have it cold with the shot on top of the milk in like a glass, or like a cold black sesame matcha latte is fantastic. Another option that you have is to shake the milk in a closed jar and add some air to it, and that makes it have that frothy texture that you'd like in a latte. Just make sure the milk isn't hot at this point. If you shake hot things in a jar, they explode, and exploding jars, especially when they're glass, is bad. So don't do that. Cold though, we're good. So shake it in a jar where the milk is cold, and then you can heat that up, and you still maintain some of that nice fluffy texture that you've created.
Okay, are we ready to steam some milk, Jared?
We are ready to steam some milk. Let's steam away.
The cap.
So whenever you can, try to use whole milk. If you are doing cow milk, the lactose is going to be a little bit more present, and the recipe's meant for a higher fat milk, so it makes a difference.
200, how many milliliters?
You're going to be doing 40 grams of the syrup and 140 grams of milk altogether, and that's going to be your total. So it's going to total at 180 mils of milk.
Okay.
And then ideally, you're going to shake that in a jar and make it sort of frothy, and then cook that on the stove. So a little involved if you're making this at home, but if you have a steam one, and you can get the, what are those steam ones, those stovetop steam ones? Have you seen? I think 8 Ounce Coffee released them recently as well.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, I can't remember. It starts with like a B, the brand, but they work really nice. I remember we lost power in our shop once, and we had to do an entire day with a stovetop steam wand. It was just crazy.
Thank you, April.
So.
All right,
Okay.
I'm pouring.
You're pouring. Amazing. Okay. The one thing that's gonna make or break this drink is you gotta get if you're doing it in the blender better be good. And Vitamixes are great, but they do get dull over time. So if they are dull, they lose power a little bit. You might have to do a second spin if there's any noticeable texture, but that'll get rid of any texture. But hopefully it's worked out just great, and it's gonna be nice and smooth when you go to drink.
Okay, this is my final can you see it?
Ooh, here, I'm gonna blow up your screen here for the audience. If you want to hold it up. Sorry, we're gonna have to get you to speak there, Jill. Just went to Sherri Ann.
Oh, this is my finished product.
There we go. Awesome. Cool. Amazing.
I garnished it just like the photo you sent me.
Amazing. Awesome. You put a little bit of the seeds on top. Okay, cool.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool that way, right? So I like those, but some people don't like them. Just having the seeds when you're drinking. But okay, let's give it a taste.
I'm gonna get my milk.
Are we okay? Is this horrible? Is this okay?
No,
is it pretty good?
This is really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I like it with just that richness. I like the bitters that the black sesame impart. The honey. Some people like it a little sweeter or a little less sweet, but this is just where I find is ideal for me. To tell you the truth, Jill, I don't know what you're drinking because the milks are so different, right? And that's going to play a major role. And so if it's tasting a little bit too bitter or too sweet, please adjust the honey ratio a little bit. If it's bang on, then amazing. Let's rock and roll.
I think it's pretty good. We're using D. Dutchman dairy, so.
Okay, I hear good things about them.
Good. Yeah, it's very good.
Awesome.
Very good quality milk, really creamy, rich.
Nice.
I'm excited about this. I'll make, I don't know if you've met April.
Oh.
I think you have met April. She's the one who steamed the milk for me, so
amazing.
I'll make
Hello, April. we actually we talk on for orders for the cafes sometimes back in the.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Well, cheers, Jill. I know we only had you until 3 minutes ago. Did you want to say anything to the viewers before you need to go, and or to Sherri Ann, or about the drink, or anything that you wanted to say as you need to go?
Oh no, any parting words?
Yeah.
I don't think I really have much to say other than I hope that you serve this in your cafe because it's delicious, and I hope that people click on our blog and try this recipe at home in whatever capacity they can make it. Like you said, mortar and pestle if you don't have a blender. I'm pretty sure that this would taste really good. You were saying over ice. Do you serve it that way?
Definitely.
Yeah.
We plan on doing it in the summer. This is something we normally serve hot, but oftentimes we do variations on our hot drinks to serve in the summer, and this is one that's delicious that way for sure.
Yeah. I think it would taste delicious over ice. So I'm gonna definitely use the rest of this giant batch of syrup.
It's really good in a frappe too. If you put it in a frappe with the matcha, and you do like a black sesame matcha frappe, it's absolutely fantastic. So highly recommend it.
Thank you so much,
awesome.
Jared, for this recipe, and
no worries.
It was nice to meet you.
If our viewers wanted to go and find the blog, can you just tell them where they need to go?
Oh yeah, for sure. On monogramcoffee.com, and then we have a section under the About tab that will point you right to our blog. And I believe your recipe will be up not next month, but the month after. So this is sort of like a preview as to what's coming.
Amazing.
And all the rest of the recipes are already up there. So
lovely.
Come check it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jill, for coming on. This is a long time in the making, and I'm really excited we were able to make this happen. So
thank you for asking me.
Thank you. Okay, all right. You take care, Jill. Have a wonderful day. Okay. And Sister Speak, I figure we could continue from here if you were doing the home process.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Ooh,
it looks just like
That looks pretty
It's-
good. That looks pretty good. Where are we at in the process? What have you done?
I did the matcha. I whisked it,
Mhm.
and then I melted the honey and stuff, and then I added it onto there, and then I heated up milk, and then I poured it on.
So you did the 140 mils of milk with 40 mils of the mixture all mixed together?
Yes.
Okay, and then you heated up that mixture?
Yes, and I gotta admit, I didn't. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to get it to be a fine powder. I'm
Fair.
just
Fair.
So I do have some seeds in here, but they're quite enjoyable.
Okay, cool. Awesome. You know, I'm a big sesame seed fan, so yeah.
This is amazing.
It's good, hey? I find it really satisfying. There's something really like about that sesame oil, the texture, the fat. It's a really lovely way to go. So
I love the seeds.
awesome. Did you know today, and I hope it's still working. It was working earlier.
Is it National Black Sesame Matcha Day?
Something like that. It was, yeah, it is. It's live. Amazing. This is the first time we've successfully gone live to Instagram.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we have just a whole bunch of folks that joined in. It was kind of amazing. So
That's awesome.
yeah, we were really, really excited. So we tried last episode and the episode before, but I didn't quite know how to use this new app that I found that allows me to take my broadcasting software and go to Instagram at the same time. So we're actually broadcasting to 4 channels today. We're on Facebook,
Wow.
Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. So
Very cool.
pretty exciting. There was some video issues in the beginning though, and I had to stop and restart the stream, and that's always a little frustrating, but we figured it out. But
So-
but anyway, so yeah, I find this a very satisfying drink. I love to just enjoy it. I think it's good for me, and I like these more fatty matcha drinks in the morning. I find that they allow me to have a little bit of longevity for my day. It's also nice in oat milk, like I know you like to have it. It makes it more like almost like a breakfast latte, and really nice way to start things off. So cool. Did you have any final words for our audience, Sherri Ann, before we end the show today?
No, but I'm really excited to discover this.
Awesome. Yeah. No, and we'll be serving it on Friday. And those who are watching, Jaga Silk Music is in a partnership with Resonation that is the movers and shakers behind Sister Speak, and we are putting together a concert series where it's mostly focused on background music at this time during the pandemic, but we're combining music with food. And drink, so basically tea and desserts, kind of a Jaga Silk's take on afternoon tea. And this is the last Friday of every month. And this month, who are our guests going to be in March?
We're gonna have David Santana, his duo.
Awesome, David Santana. So he's like a jazz guitarist. He does fantastic electric jazz guitar with that stand-up cello, right?
Mm-hmm. Stand-up bass, yep.
Stand-up.
It's, yes,
So-
incredible.
And then they're going to be performing, and then also Sister Speak, of course. So, and for those watching, we're going to be having tickets available on on Jaga Silk's webpage for the sort of virtual side of things, and we're going to be offering an opportunity to buy some tea and dessert to have while you're watching the show. So we'll be working on that. Stay tuned. We're going to try and make that go live by Friday of next week is going to be our goal. So keep watching the webpage. Go on to jagasilk.com and sign up for the Jaga Spam newsletter to get the updates as soon as we have them. And I imagine you might be throwing something up on your Instagram and talking about it as well. Sister Speak?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be putting something up this week.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you
Yes,
so
I
much.
am. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on, and people can check out Sister Speak, patreon.com/sisterspeak, and make this latte. Go to monogram.com, click on their blog, and in a couple months they'll have the recipe right there. But verbally here, 100 grams of water, 300 grams of honey. We did 300 grams of water, 300 grams of honey, 100 grams of black sesame seed. Mix it all together after you've toasted the black sesame, and you then you have the syrup. Once you have the syrup, you want to use 40 grams of syrup, 140 grams of milk. That's what you steam up and pour over a shot of matcha. So pretty complex, but really, I think, amazing results. So cheers to a complex JagaVision today, but we made it through.
Yes.
All right, you have a wonderful day. We'll see you later.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have had I guess a fairly short JagaVision today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Come check us out next week, Thursday at 1. We're going to have Dacty dates on. We're going to be talking about single cultivar dates from the Middle East, and we're going to be pairing it with some matcha. That should be fun. We're going to have we'll be joined by Hadi, who's the owner of Dacty Dates. So looking forward to dates and matcha next Thursday, 1 o'clock. See you there, either on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Instagram. Take care.